The Battle of Gettysburg. I survived the Battle of Gettysburg, 1863. Scholastic. I survived. Do you have what it takes to survive? Chapter 1, July 2nd, 1863, a battlefield in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It was the Battle of Gettysburg, the biggest and bloodiest of the Civil War. Mighty armies in the United States, North and South, were fighting to death. Cannons shook the ground and set the sky on fire. Bullets flew through the air like deadly raindrops. And in the middle of it all stood an 11-year-old boy named Thomas. Just 3 weeks before, Thomas had been a slave living on a farm in Virginia. And now he was on this battlefield in Pennsylvania, trying to help the northern soldiers who were fighting so he could be free. Thomas had come to bring the men more ammunition for their rifles. He had to get away from here. He needed to get back to his little sister, who was waiting where it was safe. But then a huge cannonball came sailing through the air. It crashed into an ammunition wagon. Kaboom! Flames shot up. Tree branches turned into torches. Razor-sharp strips of metal and nails flew through the air, stabbing Thomas in the leg and cutting his forehead. He dove for cover, rolling down a slippery hill. Gun smoke filled the air, choking him, blinding him. He had to get away. He staggered across the field, coughing and gagging. Blood spilled into his eyes from the gash on his forehead and gushed from the cut on his leg. And through the blood and smoke was a terrifying sight. Hundreds of rebel soldiers charging across the meadow, and their rifles pointed right at him. Boom! 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 Thomas ran, but not fast enough. He turned and saw a rebel soldier running straight for him. The soldier's eyes were red with fury. His face was twisted into a crazed grin. He aimed his rifle at Thomas. No! Thomas couldn't die here. Boom! Thomas's chest seemed to shatter like glass. He jerked back and fell onto the bloody, soaked grass. Okay, so now we're going to go all the way to chapter 5 and skip chapter 2, 3, and 4. Chapter 5. Thomas's mind was swirling. He looked at the skunk, and without really thinking, he lunged for it, grabbing it by the tail. Hiss! It reared around, snapping its little jaws. Its sharp teeth almost clamped down to Thomas's cheek. Hey, he called. The tall man looked over at Thomas, his eyes flashing with surprise, and then fury. And then, with all of his might, Thomas hurled the skunk toward the men. Thud! It landed right in front of one of the horses. There was a split second of silence, and then an explosion of noise screeched. Horses shouting men. The shriek of the skunk. Stay down, he whispered to Brady, but Thomas only kneeled, watching the scene of panic. And here's one picture. And here's the picture of chapter 5. The horses reared up, their heads twisting fear as the air filled with the rotten smell. Then men, coughing and gagging, struggled to calm the horses. They grabbed for the reins, dodging the horses' flying hooves. But the horses broke free and bolted into the woods at full speed. Then men shouted at each other, "Get the horse! Hurry! Just leave him!" They thundered into the woods after their animals. Thomas sat there for a few seconds, stunned and shocked in the sword cloud. Then he came to his senses. He and Brady had to get out of there. Those men could be back in any second. "Come on, Brady," he said, ready to run. But then voices rang at the distance. "More soldiers! Soldiers!" Corporal Green, a voice boomed. "Green, where are you?" A group of 5 blue soldiers hurried over, led by a man with a thick silver beard. They huddled around the injured man. "It was the rebels, Captain Campbell. The bloody soldier." The end. Hope you like the non-helpful book. Bye.